Have you ever wondered what it is about pumpkin spice that gets everyone acting like they just found their better halves? Or maybe just won the lottery? You won't be lying if you say it has taken over everything else, from lattes to cookies, pies, candles, and even deodorants. Yes, I said that. But why, oh why, do we love it so much? Could it be that this strange spice has an intoxicating compound that has people reacting differently? Well, grab your favorite beverage, everyone, because today we'll be dishing out all the juice on the all-time favorite pumpkin spice. What is it? Anyone who hasn't had anything with pumpkin spice in it would be curious enough to want to know what it is about and how it's made. Firstly, allow me to burst your bubbles. Pumpkin spice is actually not made from pumpkin, just like how a fruit cake is not made from real fruits, or how sunny-side-up eggs are not actually made in the sun. Now, if this is so, then how do you explain how the word pumpkin spice came to be? Well, this spice is just a combination of ground cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, ginger, and sometimes allspice. Cardamom and lemon peel also goes into the mix. And it is called pumpkin spice because it is commonly used as a topping for when eating pumpkin pie. So basically you can also refer to it as pumpkin pie spice. But that's not all about this strangely unique spice. The discovery of pumpkin spice goes as far back as the 1400s. Yeah, you can say it's as old as man. Back then, the Europeans had only rosemary, parsley, sage, and thyme. And as you guessed, that wasn't enough. So they decided it was high time for a flavor upgrade. Before now, they'd been importing cinnamon and ginger from the East since Roman times. But when the Ottoman Empire took over Constantinople in 1453, those routes were suddenly cut off. So what did Europeans do? They did what any spice-deprived explorers would do. They hit the high seas and launched the Age of Exploration. Their compasses pointed them straight to the Banda Islands, believed to be the holy grail of nutmeg, which means it was the only place in the world where you'd find nutmeg. Crazy, right? Here's the kicker. In Europe, 1 pound of nutmeg was worth more than 7 oxen. Yep, you heard that right. Back then, oxen were basically the gold bars of the currency world. Now, these spice hunters weren't just picking up nutmeg. Oh no, they were like kids in a candy store, grabbing cinnamon, cloves, and ginger along the way. These spices then became the MVPs of European feasts, reserved for special occasions like Christmas and the fanciest of events. But here's the plot twist. None of these medieval Europeans had even heard of a pumpkin. In fact, the term pumpkin wasn't even in their vocabulary. Not until the Europeans explored Africa did they know about pumpkin, and what has now grown to become the name of a much-loved spice. These spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, and ginger, were once very rare spices. They slowly started becoming common as the Europeans and Americans began planting them. And soon enough, they became an almost everyday thing. So what did they do then? Well, you can say they were experimenting with these spices with foods. I mean, how else were new recipes supposed to be discovered? In Britain, they were adding cinnamon and nutmeg into puddings and mince pies. In America, they were throwing it into a pumpkin and baking it into a pie. But it was Amelia Simmons who made pumpkins and spices a more global thing with her cookbook, American Cookery. In one of her recipes, she said to mix pumpkin with nutmeg and ginger. In another recipe, she mentioned mixing ginger and allspice. Soon enough, every baker in America was making do with the recipe, basically turning it into their own. Before the end of the 1800s, everyone knew nutmeg, ginger, cloves, and cinnamon as the spices to add when cooking your pumpkin. And then it was simply known as the pumpkin pie spice. But again, the pumpkin spice hit another invention. McCormick thought, why don't we just bring all these spices together as one so people can have an even easier access to them? So they did just that. And in 1934, the original pumpkin pie spice was released, and our worlds were changed forever. Pumpkin Spice Latte. Following the release of the all-in-one pumpkin spice, it became a signature ingredient for any holiday dessert. But it wasn't until the 21st century before we saw yet again another pumpkin spice invention, the pumpkin spice latte. Now, I can't help but to think about what other inventions will be inspired by pumpkin spice. Maybe a pumpkin spice hot dog? Oh, never mind. That already exists. So, who brought about the pumpkin spice latte invention? Well, while thinking of new and exciting products to deliver to their customers, Starbucks think tank thought, what can we make to wow our customers? Now remember, by this time, the peppermint mocha was already a major hit, but obviously that wasn't enough. So, Peter Dukes, the then product manager of espresso, was the guy tasked to bring up more mouth-watering beverage ideas for the upcoming holidays. Immediately, Dukes and his team went racking up more than 100 different ideas, but none really spiked the curiosity. curiosity. It was the same old caramel or chocolate flavors, boring and not exactly what Starbucks wanted. Well, not until one person brought in pumpkin pie, and the team had the wildest idea. Let's drench this in an espresso and see how it tastes. And like they say, that was it. They had discovered the perfect beverage for the holiday season. Talk about miracles happening in unexpected ways. So just like that, Starbucks turned their focus into developing the pumpkin pie beverage. First, they made a pumpkin pie sauce that could be mixed into the lattes, then added in whipped cream, and the best part? They topped it with all of the pumpkin spice goodness that they had. When it was finally ready to hit the market, they thought of naming it Fall Harvest Latte, but they worried that customers would hate it because it tasted more like a pumpkin spice drink than an actual latte. So, they settled for the obvious instead, the Pumpkin Spice Latte, and their first sales in 2003 recorded an instant success. And my friends, that was how the Pumpkin Spice Latte, also known as PSL, came to be. Since then, it has become a major selling point for the company, mainly during the fall seasons, and it has recorded hundreds of millions in sales in the last 20 years. And for Peter Dukes, the man behind it all, of course, he still works at Starbucks and is now the Director of Store Development Market Strategy, which we all know is just a fancy name to call the person who has the secret recipe for the beverage. But now, we not only have the pumpkin spice latte, but the family has grown largely to bear more offspring, such as pumpkin spice frappuccino, pumpkin cream cold brews, pumpkin spice cream steamer, pumpkin vanilla latte, and the list just never ends. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Pumpkin spice just might have been the best thing to happen to humanity. And like Peter Dukes says himself, pumpkin spice has become more than just a beverage. It is the harbinger of the season. Pumpkin spice everything. You'd think that after seeing the success Starbucks achieved from using pumpkin spice, other companies won't want to do the same. Well, joke's on you because it has been a pumpkin spice pandemic ever since the word came to be. From pumpkin spice Oreos, pumpkin spice marshmallows, and even pumpkin spice coffee creamers, just in case you can't get enough of the regular cup. And if the amount of pumpkin spice in almost everything doesn't excite or scare you yet, wait, there's more. Want to have a good meal but with pumpkin spice in it? There's a whole sea of pumpkin options. Pumpkin spice Cheerios, pumpkin spice chicken sausages, pumpkin spice bagels, and even pumpkin spice latte burgers. Trust me, you can choose to live off pumpkin spice for the rest of your life, and you won't even get bored. Now, come closer for a bit of secret advice. Have you ever thought of starting a business but did not know what to sell? Well, look no more, because all you need to do is add a large amount of pumpkin spice as an ingredient, write it boldly on the label, and market it rigorously, and you'll make more money than you've ever seen in your life. Still doubting me? Well, in 2017, Hormel Foods tried this same advice and made the first ever pumpkin spice Spam. Well, at first, it was just a photo meant for fun. But when they saw that people actually liked the idea, they went full on to produce a large amount of limited edition pumpkin spice Spams. And guess what? It sold out completely in only 7 hours of its release. So you see, pumpkin spice might just be the greatest spice ever. Not only because it is delish, but also very lucrative. Even non-food brands and companies have also joined the wagon. Today, we have pumpkin spice toothpaste, pumpkin spice deodorant, pumpkin spice protein powder, and pumpkin spice surface cleaner. With all these, one thing is certain, if you look hard enough, you can find pumpkin spice in everything. And I bet right now you have a pumpkin spice product sitting pretty in your home, on a shelf or pantry. And let's be real here, we've reached a point where it's time for an official rebrand. It shouldn't just be pumpkin spice anymore. It should be called Pumpkin Spice. I mean, come on, it's practically earned the title.